Okay, I've been thinking again about the four-dimensional flat Earth theory, which so far I think I'm the only person in the flat Earth community to have seriously spoken about. I was thinking about the sunset and the stars and the moon and how that all works. And the conclusion I've come to is that basically I thought of it like this. You may have seen my other video talking about the Mebius Strip idea, or Mobius. The idea of the Mobius Strip is that you have a two-dimensional plane which has one surface, but it's looped so that if you keep going in one direction you come back to the same place where you started. And it appears that the ball here is going on opposite sides of this circle, but in fact it just has one side, so it's quite kind of paradoxical. And it got me thinking about, you know, if I was a two-dimensional being living on a two-dimensional world, how would I see the sun set? Or if I was to imagine that there was a two-dimensional sun, like a circle basically. Imagine you're a flat person living on a flat world on that Mebius strip, and you were to see the sun go past. It would just go further and further away, and it would get smaller and smaller, and then it would come back to where it started. You see, you would never see it set. And this is the problem. Well, this is, for me, the biggest problem with the general idea about the flat Earth theory is the sunset and the moon. It's just, there's no way that that works. That model, the model that Eric Debye and Matt Bolan pushing. I'm sorry to say that, you know, they're right about a lot of things, but I don't think they're right about their model. I think that we live on a flat plane, and the reason you come back to the same place where you started, if you keep going in one direction, is because the flat plane is twisted in the fourth dimension. That's why I call it the 4D flat Earth. And this, I think, is the only real solution to the problem. But one problem it did bring up was what's going on with the sky, because the sky does still appear to move around us in a spherical motion. As you can see, the ancient Egyptians. Oh, actually, you can't see that. Basically, sorry about that. Yeah, you can't quite see that picture. I can't move it for some reason. Basically, in ancient Egypt, they depicted the sun and the sky and the earth like this. So the goddess Nuit, or Nu, was depicted as circular, arching around the world. And trying to make it so you can see this picture. Okay, here we go. There. And Geb was the earth god at the bottom, which was flat. So she was circular. So basically, you had the flat, fixed, immovable earth, and you had the circular, expansive sky. And that got me thinking, you know, why does the sky have to be flat? You know, there's no reason why it has to be. We can have a flat earth model where the flat earth is completely flat, but you twist it in a fourth dimension so that you come back to the same place you started when you keep going in one direction. But yet the sky could still surround that and be spherical, like the celestial sphere that everyone used to believe in. There was a sphere that went around the Earth, just as it appears to. The sun and the moon and all the stars rotate around us in a giant sphere. So, when you look at these clouds, just for the non-believers in the flat Earth theory, could you really think that that Earth and that sky is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour? How is that possible when you look at this image? It's impossible. There's no way that the Earth is moving or rotating in any way. I mean, this video is obviously speeded up a lot, and you can just see all the clouds going different directions. If the Earth was rotating at 1,000 miles an hour, there'd be vast weather systems constantly going in bands around the Earth, like you see when you see pictures of Jupiter. I don't know whether they're real, but you see these rings going around, and you just don't get that on the Earth. You wouldn't have days where there's no wind and it's completely still, and you would have 1,000 mile an hour storms happening all over the place. Now, what we're talking about here is four-dimensional cubes, four-dimensional shapes, I mean. And after I did my last video about the Mebius Strip, I had all these comments, people saying, "Oh, you think we live on a Mobius Strip? You're an idiot." It's like, no, that's not what I said, okay? You just have to listen, you try and use your brain a little bit. I'm talking about a flat plane that's curved in a fourth dimension. So the best way to visualize that, or to try and understand it, is to imagine that you're a two-dimensional person living on a two-dimensional plane. Like this ball, well, not like the ball, but if you imagine that you were a little stick man stuck to the surface of this Mobius strip, you could walk all the way around it, and you'd come back to where you started, and you'd never realize that there was this twisting curvature existed. You would just think you were on a flat plane that just kept on going, and somehow you just always ended up back at the same place you started. You see, and then if you chunk that up to a three-dimensional model with a four-dimensional twist, then you get the idea of what I'm talking about. So why is it that we have to have the sky being also the same shape? It doesn't have to be necessarily. They're of different natures. Look at the ancient Egyptian cosmology. You have a circular sky goddess and you have a flat earth god. So why can't, seeing as they have different natures, if you just think about it, just go outside at night or in the daytime, whenever basically, and the earth is fixed and flat and immovable and solid. The air is vast, infinite, immaterial, and made of air. They have completely different natures. So it could be entirely possible that we live on a flat plane which has curvature in a fourth dimension, and yet we're still surrounded by a spherical sky which just rotates us just like as a sphere, just as it looks, just as all your observations tell you. You see the spherical sky rotating around you every day, and that's what it is. Just like this. Apart from the Earth is not a planet, it's something multi-dimensional. It's the center of creation. And the heavenly celestial sphere surrounds us and rotates us. Okay, that's all for now, folks. Have a good night and enjoy the supermoon.